morning. It is Saturday, Saturday morning. We are going to get back to basics today. So, I wanted to hop on a little bit early. Good morning, a little bit early, just to say that we're going to need some things today to help us through our practice. The first one is going to be maybe like Kleenex or something, have that handy because we're going to be tapping into breath of fire today. And if you've got any kind of allergies or stuff going on, that'll just be something to help support you. Of course, any type of meditation cushion, rolled up blanket, anything to just give yourself a little bit more support when we're doing our meditation and most of the Kriya today. It's all breath work that we're going to be working on today. And if you like a bonus, maybe grab like a piece of paper and a pen or something that you can jot some notes down with today. This isn't going to be like a full workshop format. So we're not going to get deep and practice and do a lot of feedback and stuff like we would in a workshop, but we are going to move through and practice some different breath work techniques today. So the whole goal is to be mindful and be aware of what does this different type of breathing, how does it impact the mind? What types of thoughts are coming up? How active or how idle does this make or influence my mind? And when you start to do this practice and notice these different breaths, it helps to add that into your toolkit of things that you can use during the day. Because when you practice in this safe space on your mat and in your little cave, if you will, you really get to notice that. But when we're out in the world and we're actually having these stressors come in or these perceived threats, it can affect the way that we're breathing. And there's so much of our day that our body just does the breathing for us and we're not really mindful of it. But the more that you practice these techniques, the more that you'll start to notice, or at least for me, how it happened, is that I would notice when I was in those really stressful situations, or I would notice when things were starting to build. I would notice when my mind was getting really active, creating stories, or like sort of stuck on a thing, not able to let go of why did this happen, or why is this happening, trying to make sense of things rather than get stuck in that place where I was creating my own suffering. I was able to notice, wait, the mind is really busy. Let me grab onto that anchor of my breath. And I would notice that maybe I wasn't breathing. Maybe I was holding my breath. Or sometimes it would just be really shallow, like upper, top of the lungs breathing, not really getting that deep belly breath, right? So whenever you do that, whenever you notice that in your day, you can take a second to just get calm, get a couple of long, deep breaths in, or maybe you do a different type of breath, right? So you start to notice which ones are going to work with you, which ones help you out in certain situations. And it's just going to help you to reset and kind of diffuse certain situations in your everyday life. So this is going to be a quiet one today. I'm not going to be speaking through a lot of the moments. It's going to be a lot of just you and yourself. So I want you to really feel empowered to notice and label. So if you do want to have a notebook handy or something, I suggest rather than doing like stream of consciousness or something in between our rests, maybe just getting the practice of labeling. So if your mind starts to go to the to-do list, the future planning, right? If it starts to go to regret or guilt or shame, stuff that's in the past, right? Learning how to label that. If it's a certain emotion that's coming up, whether it's joy and happiness and these really fulfilling feelings, or whether it's resentment and anger and judgment, whatever it is, just label it. And that would be a good thing to notate if you want to practice it that way today. So we will go ahead and get started. Um, yes, I have a couple of things I need to grab. There will be a small meditation at the end of the breathwork series, and we're just going to be tapping into one of our favorite mantras here, which is Sat Nam. And again, that's just my true identity, the truth of my identity, not this emotion, not the roles that I hold, not what other people have labeled me, how other people see me, but how do I get back to that truth, right? So it's a good thing to let's keep aligning with that. Let's keep aligning with just the truth, not all of this confusion, not all of this illusion, just what is true for us, okay? So bring yourself onto your mat. And we're going to warm up the body, warm up the spine just a little bit. Ooh, adjusting. And so cross leg, okay, if you're comfortable. There's some of these too. If you need to switch it up, more than anything, I want to honor body autonomy today. So if you are starting to feel stiff from a lot of sitting, because it's going to be a lot of breath work and just seated in a meditative posture. If the legs start to get too uncomfortable and you're feeling that, go ahead and pop them out at any time. Go ahead and stretch that any way that you need to. I was practicing with a private client earlier this week, and they were more comfortable being seated in rock pose because it really gave them a lot more of that lift to be able to be seated. So if that's a way that you want to practice it, you can come into rock pose and still keep the Gyan Mudra in the hand and the lock here. Okay, so this is for you today to try out to see what sorts of things come up with the breath work, what sorts of things work best for your body, and how can you arrange or move the body so that you feel free, you don't feel restricted. Okay, so for now, cross leg position, we're going to just do a little bit of centering and a little bit of connecting to the breath before we get started. So go ahead and get comfortable. Let the eyelids slowly fall down and just bring that gaze inward and upward to the third eye. And start to consciously connect to the breath. So inhaling. Exhale. Moving in and out through the nose. Noticing how the breath is inhabiting the body, where it's showing up, which parts it's filling as you breathe that breath in, and then also as you push it out. How does that feel? All of that stagnant air, all of that stagnant energy out of the body. Just focused on making this rhythm as long, as smooth as possible so that we're moving almost seamlessly between the inhale and then the exhale. A smooth, fluid rhythm that you are in command of. For each inhale, recognize that you're bringing more prana, more life force into your body. With each exhale, maybe notice that you are softening and relaxing tension in the body. With each inhale, reclaiming that power, reclaiming that life force, bringing it into you to merge. With each exhale, reminding yourself, I'm safe, I'm okay. Everything is as it needs to be right here in this moment with this breath. Notice where the body is connected to the ground. Begin to focus in on your sensation of touch. When you have those spaces identified, use them to push back against the earth so that you can rise up through the rest of your posture, lengthening the spine, one vertebrae at a time. From the base all the way up through the crown of the head, almost as if someone was pulling a string up through the top. Can you find a balance today to where this posture feels supported, yet also at ease? So without tension, without arching the back to push everything forward. Can we just find a naturally comfortable position? With your next inhale, bring the shoulders up towards the ears. On the exhale, roll them down and back so that they sit just a little lower than before. Begin connecting to the breath. Again, notice where it's inhabiting the body. Notice how active or how calm the mind may be. We're in the transition now to Aquarius season, which means it's all about the collective. It's all about community. It's all about figuring out, even with the reality of how isolated we may feel in this pandemic, how can we use our creativity to still connect? How can we work on redefining or strengthening our relationships? How can we do more work to recognize that we are connected and dependent on one another? So even the breath right now, we're able to breathe because of plants, because of trees. So with this idea and this thought of community and relationships in mind, take the time to set an intention for today's practice, to anchor you through action, some trait, some quality that you'd like to embody, not just here or maybe the next hour, but when you get away from the mat as well. Begin to rub the palms together briskly at heart center as you allow that intention to come deeper into your mind. And when you have it solidified, go ahead and find stillness at heart center. Press those palms together. Feel the knuckles of your thumb against your chest. Visualize yourself hand writing this trait, this quality that you'd like to embody on a post-it note of your favorite color. See yourself pressing it just to the inside of your forehead. From here, we'll tune in 3 times with the Adi mantra, calling in on our higher selves, our most creative self, to guide our actions and our mind through today's practice and away from the mat. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. And inhale to tune in. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath. Apply Mula Bandha. So pull up on the pelvis floor. Squeeze the anal sphincter, the sex organs. Really feel yourself containing that energy. Visualize it spiraling up from the base of the spine all the way up through the crown of the head. And before it's uncomfortable, exhale slowly, smoothly through the nose. Let the hands come down either to the tops of the knees or to the ground, depending on what you feel you might need right now. And take this time, still keep that gaze inward, just witness the space that you've created. Do another mental scan, do another body scan. Identify areas that you may still be feeling a bit tension, tightness, maybe even pain. And also notice where you may already feel expansive. Notice how the body feels just from vibrating and projecting your own voice. When you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. Let the legs come out in front of you just for a moment. warm them up a little bit more before we get into our actual warm up. So just you can bounce the knees if you like. You can do some little windshield wiper movements. Maybe flex and point the toes all the way down, all the way up to the tops of the hips. Just getting some movement there. Maybe you have them out in front of you. Maybe you have them out a little bit wider. Notice what you feel today. Notice where your edges are. Notice what needs to be leaned into a little bit more. And notice the areas that maybe need to be treated with a bit more compassion, maybe a more gentle way. So once you're done stretching out the legs, just let them come back into a simple cross-leg position. We're just going to start warming up the hips a little bit by bringing the hands to the tops of the knees and rotating the heart center around the base of the spine. So we're going to anchor ourselves with a breath here. We're going to inhale as we rotate forward, exhale as we rotate back. And still keep that gaze inward at the third eye. If you're just starting out, it can be a bit difficult to keep that focus, keep that attention of the eyes focusing just where the nose meets the brow. This is really going to enhance your practice, though. The more that you spend time focusing on that, helps to just stimulate the brain and get us in a place where we are counteracting that stress response that we are all sort of experiencing and fighting against these days. So on your next exhale, pause, and then begin rotating in the opposite direction. Still inhaling forward, exhaling back. Now slowly begin to make your circles smaller and smaller until you get to a neutral space at center. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. Good. Hands in front of the shins now for spinal flex. So giving the side view here. Chest stays lifted, chin is down and back, and the head stays as neutral as possible. So really, if you can keep it in your awareness, be mindful. We want to stay away from this type of movement. We want to stay away from the head actually moving. Because like I said, we're sending those signals to the brain. We're traveling down the spine and going into our nerves and our nervous system. So the more that we can keep this, kind of like a kink in a hose. We don't want any kinks there, okay? So keep the chin down and back. We're going to flex this bottom area here. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. And go at your own pace. Go with whatever feels most natural, depending on, this might be stiff, this might be sticky, this might be sore, depending on how active you've been or maybe how much you've been seated this week. Maybe if you did some really back-breaking work too. Back takes a lot of it. So If you feel like you need to move slow, move slow. If you feel like you start to feel it opening up, then you can pick up the pace. Good. Inhale forward. Exhale, release. For this next one, yogi's choice, we're moving the flex up a little bit more. So if you want to, this one's more of lifting the heart space a little bit more, right? It's almost like someone's pulling up. If you can get better movement and seated, go ahead and do that. If for you, it's easier to be lifted in rock pose and go with that same flex, again, totally up to you, okay? This is your time to practice and experiment and figure out what works best for you. So again, I'm gonna do the arms. I'm working with pretty long arm proportions, okay? So for me, it's like a little lever that I can use. But again, we're all working with our own proportions. So again, we're still inhaling on the flex forward, exhaling on that flex back. Good. Inhale forward. Exhale, release. Let those legs come out in front of you once more. Give them a little bit of a stretch, a little bit of a flex. Keep that blood flowing. Very good. Okay, back to center. Now we're flexing the middle part of the spine. We're gonna get some spinal twists in here, just from the rib cage. So remember when we centered before class, keeping that root, keeping that foundation here, and really just twisting. So elbows are up, parallel with the ground, fingers in front, thumbs in back. Inhale, we twist towards the left. Exhale, we twist towards the right. Just tiny little twists here. Inhale, center. Exhale, let the arms float down. Again, either to the tops of the knees or to the ground. And just rest. Take a moment to witness your space. Let your breath regulate. Let it do whatever it would like. And just feel the life force flowing through your body. Inhale deeply. Exhale consciously. The hands come into Gyan Mudra, index finger touching the thumb. Begin to draw circles slowly with the tip of the nose. Inhaling on our way up, exhaling on the way down. Any direction you like. Next exhale, pause, and then begin rotating in the opposite direction. Still inhaling as you move up, exhaling as you rotate down. Really focus here on opening up the throat chakra, opening up the space where we speak from our truth. Also on a biological level, we're working on the thyroid and parathyroid glands here. So slowly begin to make your circles smaller and smaller until you find a neutral space at center. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath. Apply Mudra, so pull up on the pelvic floor, pull up on the anal sphincter, the sex organs. Feel yourself containing that energy. Visualize it spiraling from the base of the spine, up through the heart center, up through the crown of the head. Exhale slowly. Again, just take a moment. Witness your space. Remind yourself you're safe. You're okay. There's nothing else to be doing at this moment. Everything is as it ought to be. Check back in with your post-it note. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Kriya now. Allow yourself to blink your eyes open if you haven't already. Maybe stretch the legs out once more. We've got a special playlist today to help work through this breath series. So we'll begin with left nostril breathing. And so I said, if you want to have a paper handy or something to write down little notes when you're done in between the rests, that would be a good idea, something to give yourself something to reflect back on. So we're going to begin with left nostril breathing, and the sides of the body are balanced. So one side, the left side, is more, brings in more cooling, calming, centering energy. The right side is more warming, active, charged sort of energy, okay? So we're gonna play with those different channels today. And again, notice what it does to the mind. Just witness the thoughts that are coming up. See if you can label them. So to begin, let the hands come to the tops of the knees. Left hand is in Gyan Mudra. Right hand comes up to the nose, fingers pointed up, and the thumb just slightly, so we're not jamming it in, just slightly is going to close the right nostril. And we're going to stay in this posture. Again, if you want to be in rock pose, go for that. If you need to be seated in a chair today, go for that. But we're just going to do long, deep breathing through the left nostril, keeping that gaze at the third eye. Really important, keeping the chin slightly down and back. This is like a mini neck lock here. Okay. So we'll just begin. Long, deep breathing. Inhale deeply through both nostrils. Suspend the breath. Apply Mulband. Contain the energy. Before it's uncomfortable, exhale slowly, smoothly. And this is your time to rest. So do whatever you need. If you need to tend to your body, if you need to relax the breath, if you need to make a note, you have about 40 more seconds to do that. Okay, so bring yourself back to your posture, whatever you'd like that to be. Cross-leg, rock pose, seated in a chair. And we're gonna move to the other side now. So hands on top of the knees, right hand in Gyan Mudra. Left hand comes up, fingers pointed straight. Use the thumb just to slightly close the left side. And we're practicing long, deep breathing through the right nostril. Gaze at the third eye, chin slightly down and back. Inhale deeply through both nostrils. Suspend the breath. Apply a little bend. Exhale through the nose. And rest. Notice how you feel. Notice if there was a difference between either side. Time for the next phase. Blink your eyes open if you haven't already. Get back into your favorite posture. And this time we're practicing alternate nostril breathing. So we're going to be breathing in through the left and out through the right. And the hand's gonna help us here. So we're basically gonna go between the thumb and the pinky. And the fingers stay lifted again. We're gonna go between the thumb and the pinky, almost so that they create, sometimes you'll hear it called a U breath, because the hand is making a U to sort of go back and forth, pinky and thumb, right? So, hands on tops of the knees. Left hand in Gyan Mudra. Right hand comes up. So on the inhale, the thumb closes the right nostril. On the exhale, we switch. Use the pinky to close the left as we exhale through the right. So inhale, long, deep breathing through the left. Exhale through the right. Still have that minor chin lock. Still have the gaze at the third eye. Just like that, in through the left, out through the right.
Do you want to know enlightenment is? It's with you every moment. It's a back and forth. Letting go of your attachment to yourself, to outcomes. Letting go of the way things are. If I could let go of everything, or I could let go of right or wrong, it would get deeper and deeper. And it was amazing.
Inhale through both nostrils. Suspend the breath. Apply Mudra.
I
Exhale.
sense a lifetime of judgment against myself.
Rest.
And letting that go. With faultless breath, infinite bliss returns. It's an infinity. I didn't transcend my ego. We became partners. We became teammates.
Okay, opposite side now. So now we're inhaling through the right, exhaling through the left. So hands on top. Right hand, India Mudra. Left hand comes up. As we inhale through the right, the thumb closes. As we exhale through the left, the pinky closes. Inhale through the right. Exhale through the left. Inhale through both nostrils. Suspend the breath, apply more bandha, containing the energy. Exhale. And take a moment to rest. Do whatever your body needs. At this point, we've done over 12 minutes of breath work, so maybe being in this posture, maybe you want a quick child's pose to help stretch out the shoulders. To stretch out your back. Maybe you want to bring the knees into the chest and give yourself a hug, rock from side to side. This is your time to explore giving your body what it needs. Okay, wherever you are, gently find your way back to your favorite posture. And this one may be a little bit different than a posture that you choose for long deep breathing, because we're moving into breath of fire next. And if you need a more in-depth walkthrough of breath of fire, I would suggest taking a look at the video titled The Bounce Back. And it really helps to talk through sort of this rebounding effect. So a good way to practice breath of fire from the beginning is just pretend like you're panting like a dog. And really just focus on the exhale. The inhale happens on that rebound just as the diaphragm is falling back. I've seen it taught before, and I've witnessed people in class who very actively suck in through the nose, and it's a sort of quick thing that you can very much like hyperventilate yourself that way. You can very much get super dizzy. So I want to bring us back into a space, really focus on the basics of that, and just punching in for the exhale, okay? So both hands are going to be in Gyan Mudra. And this one, all the other ones have been 3-minute segments. This one is 7 minutes, and it can be difficult, but think about sustainability. Think about just moving at a pace that you can sustain through that amount of time. And if at any time it feels overwhelming, anytime you do get dizzy, anytime you need to sort of drop out and take a breath and take a second reset, that's totally fine. Always just begin again, okay? We're not focused on perfection here. We're focused on progress, okay? So again, lifted up through the spine. The chest is lifted and open. Let's go ahead one more sec. Maybe just on the inhale, bring the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, roll them down and back. Chin slightly down and back. Gaze at the third eye. Okay. Begin. Good. We're about halfway. Keep going. Focus on being sustainable with the breath. This is super cleansing for the lungs. And with each exhale, it's super cleansing because you're sending many shock waves, many massages through the entirety of the body. So maybe you notice that you're softening throughout this one, gradually and more and more. Maybe you notice something different altogether. It's your experience today. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath. Apply Mula. Contain that energy. Exhale. Remain here in this posture, just noticing, just witnessing how your life force, how your mind, how your body, sensations, emotions, where are they now compared to where we started? Inhale deeply. Exhale consciously. Okay, let the feet come out in front of you again. We have one more portion left to this, and it's a mini meditation. It's only 3 minutes, so I know you can do it. And we're just going to chant long set noms. And so, again, think about sustainability. If you were ever in band or choir or anything like that, you may have been taught to read music. Okay, you may have to hold this note out for maybe 8 beats or so, right? So you would get that big, deep belly breath to give yourself everything that you need, and then you sustain it. So that would be all in one breath, right? So really setting yourself up for success by getting enough of that belly breath so that you can sustain it all the way through. When you get to the end of the set, there's a hard T, set. Then the nam is much shorter, and the M of the nam, feel the little, like a, those little vibrating sorts of feelings, a little sensation when you're humming, okay? So we'll go from there, again, whichever posture you prefer, whether it's cross-leg, rock pose, seated in a chair, hands in Gyan Mudra, and we're just gonna work with the breath. So again, gaze at the third eye, chin slightly down and back. Nam. Inhale deeply. Bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, shake them out. Shake out the hands, shake out the arms, shake out the shoulders. Inhale, up overhead. Exhale. Inhale, twist to the left. Exhale, twist to the right. This tiny twist. Inhale. Exhale, shake it out. Here we go. So with that, we will bring our hands back into heart center. There's no relaxation for today. Although if you feel that that is what your body is needing, I definitely invite you to take a few more minutes and get yourself into a comfortable, relaxing position. Let the hands come into heart center. Bring the gaze inward and upward. One last time for today's practice to reconnect yourself with that post-it note, that one trait, that one quality that you are dreaming to embody. Not only just to be fully expressed and whole when you're in your safe cave away from threats, but to also be courageous enough to embody that when you're out in the world with others away from the mat. So we'll end with one final long Satnam, reminding you of your true identity. Inhale deeply. Exhale completely. And inhale to close. May we be healthy. May we be happy. May we be holistically in union, mind, body, spirit. May we fully lean into Aquarius season by connecting to the collective, keeping our community at the forefront of our progress. Satnam. Thank you again so much for sharing your practice with me today. If you want to know more about the music that we played today, everything was by East Forest. So if you haven't checked him out, I would highly recommend it. The very first track was the album with Ram Dass. And if you are not familiar with Ram Dass's work, I would also suggest for you to spend some time Googling and checking that out. So until next time, Satnam, bye.